What's up, y'all? Welcome to our YouTube channel, Africans Talk Football. Appreciate your guys' continued support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.
Welcome back to another episode of Africans Talk Football, where we bring you some fresh news highlighting the Africans and African Americans who have seen success within the sport. We'll bring you some news from our favorite teams within the Premier League, as well as informing you on other European leagues and soccer news worldwide. Whether this is episode 1 or you've been rocking with us from the jump, again, I just want to say thank you to all of our friends and supporters. My name is Cornelius, and I'm joined by my boys and fellow co-hosts. Salam, how are you doing tonight?
Fantastic, man. Mike, how you feeling? You're on mute, Mike. Damn.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It was a good weekend, man. I'm doing well. How about you, my boy Solo?
It's a good weekend. I'm feeling pretty great. You get what I'm saying? We'll get into why that's a pun later.
Gary, what's good, man?
Thanks for having me. I feel good. Football heritage.
Oh, yeah. Cornelius?
Solo, you are corny, bro. You're so wild. I can't believe you just said that weak, lame. Yeah. Hold on. Let me just go ahead. I feel all right, man. I'm doing great. Happy Sunday to y'all, man. You know, my team got the dub, so no complaints here. That little corny. I'm glad this wasn't no Prem game. City is so weak. Anyway, before we hop into what happened in the English Premier sphere, I wanted to talk about a little bit. Well, Salam, you actually had a question in pre-production. Let us know what you want to pose to the group.
So I had two things. The first one, I'll start with this one because the next one kind of transitions into our teams. But Barcelona played Real Madrid today in the Supercopa final. I believe they won 5-2. So, congratulations to them. Great result, especially when you look at how Real Madrid has been playing as of late. They really picked it up. To be fair, Barca has been pretty consistent in the league. But I wanted to say, obviously, Yamal played well. He seems to always just be playing well. And, in football, we've seen a lot of players like, these, in quote, wonder kids, if you will. These kids who come in and they have all this potential. And, from players like Wayne Rooney to Neymar to as recent as Jude Bellingham, and I'll start with you, Gary. Where do you guys rank him as, like, the top 17-year-old, if you will? Because 17 years of age is usually when those players, I wouldn't say start to peak, but you really start to, be like, oh, okay. That's usually like one of the first ages for like the introduction to the first team. So, is he the best 17-year-old player we've ever seen in Europe, or you've ever seen in Europe? And if not, who is?
If we have to say Europe, because you say Europe, right? Then I would definitely have to say, not being a prisoner of the moment, yes. Because at 17, I mean, what he's doing in the national team for his club, what he's won, the type of goals he scored, the type of assists, the composure. I mean, he is way above his time in terms of for his age. I even look at that goal he scored today. The first touch, the man had no chance after that. The second touch was just picking his corner where he, went back to where he came from with the goalie. I mean, he already had the picture in his mind what he wanted to do. And even if anything had changed, he could have still went far post if he still wanted to. I mean, some of the passing that I see from him at that age, not being selfish, and then the racial abuse that he faces sometimes and still pushes on. I have to say, yes, Now, will he become Messi? I don't know. But given their current age, I mean, Messi won what 3 titles and he won 2. But if you look at the goals and the amount of games they've played at that age, it's not even close.
All right.
So
Solo, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's hard for me because I didn't get to see. I don't think I saw Messi play 17 because I started watching in 2010, like consistently. So I'll say honestly, as a person that started watching this 2010, I don't really know many other 17-year-olds that match the maturity of how he plays, and just like his confidence. You know, like Barcelona is not, especially when he started like doing well the year that his breakout year. Barcelona is not a club that I think I would be playing confidently in player. I think the fact that he played so confidently in that system and not only that, but at times saved his club, I think did a lot to show the character of him as a player, but also just like, I mean, bro, he's 40-yard like what is it called? Banana passes. This is stuff that you see 39-year-old Modric doing. 15, 20 years of experience. And I also feel like kids from his age, his group, they they are so they benefit a lot from the academy systems being as strong as they are now and how refined as they are now. So for me, I think he's really like a product of like the past 10, 15 years of just like of how academies are structured to pump out this type of excellence, but in particular La Masia. And so yeah, it's hard to think of anyone since when I started watching in 2010 that matches really that matches what he's doing right now. I think he just needs the trophies and he's already got a couple.
Yeah, for me, I would say I agree with Carrie, but the last 17-year-old I can remember actually, like, I'm like, wow, this guy's for real, was Messi. But Messi wasn't playing consistently like this guy is at his age, winning international competition, being the one of the main reasons. And I don't know, he really might be the best 17-year-old we've seen so far. Because if I think about it, yeah, I saw Messi young, but Messi was not consistently playing, starting every game for Barcelona at that time. Eventually, maybe a year or 2 years in, he became the main guy. But this guy is the main guy at 17 for a big club like Barcelona and his country, like Spain. So I don't know. He might be the best we've seen so far.
Um, I hear y'all, but at least for me personally, I gotta go with Neymar, bro. And
we
I,
said we
I
said we said Europe, so that's why I didn't put Neymar in there.
Yeah, same.
Oh,
I
okay,
mean,
okay. My bad. We could include the everybody. I
Okay, so then Neymar is on my list too.
Yeah.
okay. Well, I mean, you're right. He's Spanish, so that's Spain. Yeah, but man, I don't care. I'm cheating there because Neymar for me still like, and I think it's a few things for me because Kerry said something that I think was very important. Like he actually had to come into this team and step into this team. I think Mike said he kind of like, or you said it, he kind of like saved this team because Barca at the time when Lamine came was like not great, you know. So not only did Neymar come into a team that was already established when he came to Barca, but like the buzz he had, just like the things he was doing with the ball at the time where there weren't yet systems, so players were allowed to be free. You were like, yo, wherever this guy goes, he's going to bring that flair to this team, and whatever manager gets to, and we all knew it was going to be Barca at a certain point in time, but just the buzz that was around Neymar, and it was right around when YouTube was blowing up too, so you were able to see these clips of him down in Santos on this grainy, like video, and it's like, who is this kid, bro? But like everything you see about him is just like, dog, what did he do? He's like rainbow and flicking over them, then bringing it back, and then nutmegging the player, then bringing it back, and then scoring. It's like everything he did was crazy. And then for him to step into Barcelona and still have that freedom to just be himself, I think like that's crazy. But in Europe, for sure, Yamal. I think what Kerry said, composure. That's the biggest thing. Like this guy doesn't really mess up. Like he doesn't really make mistakes. He always makes the right play. You know, even when it seems like he's doing some flashy move or he's beating defenders, it's because he's already kind of seen the next step or the next play ahead. He's like, yeah, I can beat this guy. And I know when I beat this guy, this is going to bring the defender over and I'll be able to slide it here. Like you can see that he's thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead of the game, kind of like what Kerry said. And for him to have that composure at this age, to be able to deal with the things that he has to deal with, for him to be able to just shoulder the responsibility. I mean, like when you look at this Barcelona team, they're going through this kid, you know, and like that's kind of rare for a 17-year-old to kind of understand that and just to shoulder it without any care in the world. Like I think that's the one thing that I think sets him apart from all the other young wonder kids. Like he kind of just shoulders it really, really well. For me, at least.
You know, for a second, Europe, thinking about Wayne Rooney, but I think he was like, because I remember seeing highlights like best teenagers that's ever played, but I think he was like what in his 20, like early 20 by the time
he was when he first started at Everton.
Everton.
Yeah, at Everton he was 16, 17.
Yeah.
He was balling.
But not on this level though. Not on Yamal level.
Yeah, not like that.
Facts.
Yeah,
It's like
I
I was just saying like Jamal is just he's technical, but he's the IQ is there too. He doesn't make mistakes much.
Yeah, I was gonna give Rooney a shout. Definitely, I didn't mean to frame the question as just Europe, because I did want to include Neymar. Neymar is obviously one of the probably the first, like maybe not the first, but I feel like for us anyway, like one of the first. Yeah, definitely, like wonder kid of our generation. So yeah, I would have to give it to Yamal, but if you were to have to, let's do a start sub sell 17-year-old versions of Neymar, Wayne Rooney, and Yamal. Who are you starting? Who are you subbing? Who are you cutting?
If I have to go first, I mean I'm starting Neymar. I mean, like I'm gonna sub Yamal in, and I mean I love Rooney, but that's just a different level of baller.
I agree with Kerry.
Yeah, that lineup makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's the incorrect answer.
Yeah, if you would have thrown like 17-year-old Messi, that would have been a different story. But
well, that's so no one said Messi. Like out of curiosity, 17-year-old Messi. What was because like when he was 17 would have been what his second year as playing Barca first team.
Yeah, but like Mike said, like he didn't.
I think he came on like 16. He debuted at 16.
Number
And
34.
then he wasn't like a starter.
No, he only had 9.
I remember
appearances
him
and
in
one
high
goal.
school. My friend telling him about him. We watch all the videos, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is gonna be good. This guy's gonna be good." And this was like prime when Ronaldinho was the man. Eto'o, all these guys. This was prime.
Ronaldinho
So
gave
at
him
this
his first
time, I'm
goal.
looking like, man, if he has to be good, he's gonna have to be better than Eto'o and Ronaldinho. But when you saw him, you're like, man, this is crazy, because his dribbling was just like almost unrealistic.
Close control, man.
Like
It was
it didn't even make sense.
didn't. It
But
was nuts.
it wasn't like Yamal. Yamal came on and he was like almost like Barcelona could not afford to have him on the pitch. With Messi, it wasn't like that. But
Yeah,
as time went on, he got
point.
playing time.
It's a great
Then
point.
eventually, you couldn't just deny it.
That's
It
true.
was so obvious. Yamal, it's like from the jump, they needed him to play. That's why I think he really might be.
That's fair. Let us
I
know.
know.
John. Go ahead.
No, I know you had a second question, but I just wanted to say for those who saw the game today, I mean, we talk about it for like a quick 5 minutes,
Yeah.
because I did watch it. I watched with shout out Dez, shout out Gerard, and Dez he's a Madrid fan, and after that first goal, I was like, Mbappe, he's here. Like this is your time to like make your stamp. You started off very, very rocky at Madrid. Everybody was looking at you crazy. The media was looking at you crazy. These last couple of weeks, you started to turn the corner. We're starting to see you score goals. We're starting to see you get a little bit more comfortable. He opened up with a goal here. I'm looking like, yo, this could get ugly for Barcelona, bro. And, Yamal, just the composure on that goal, like Trini said, just to be able to get the ball, he's cutting in, he's left footed, but just the composure to look off. Like if you actually look at him, he's looking far post. So Courtois is being drawn. So when he doesn't have to hit it with pace, the ball hits side netting. He placed it so beautifully. It's just like the finesse, the actual craft of the goal itself. It's like when you're playing at that type of level, it's just like, oh, okay. After that, it was 1-1, and to be honest, I think that was the softest penalty I've ever seen in my entire life. And I don't want to say it ruined the game, but when those things happen in a match, it does deflate a team, and it takes a lot of confidence, and it takes a lot for a team to overcome that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say that's the reason why Madrid wasn't able to come back by any means, because they had multiple chances to score in the second half and in the injury time. There were 7 minutes of injury time in the second half. So they had multiple chances to score, and they had multiple chances to potentially equalize. But for me, I think when referees take decisions, and we can talk about this in the FA Cup this week, or we can talk about this just across the board. When referees take decisions that alter the game, I think they need to be held more accountable. And I've been saying this all year, and I don't know how we do it, but for those who didn't see the match, the ball gets played into the box and it kind of pings around. I don't know exactly what happens, but the ball is played to Gavi, who is going for a 50-50, chests the ball. As he chests the ball, he starts to fall over because Camavinga stuck his foot out and hit him on the thigh as he's in the air. Now, we all have watched football. We all have played the sport. We know that certain contact is a foul outside of the box. And inside the box, there's a different determination of what contact actually is determining a foul, because this is the penalty area. If there's a foul in here, there's going to be a penalty called. Personally, I think the contact that was from Camavinga while Gavi was in the air trying to get the ball, there was contact there for sure. Was it a foul in the box? For me, no. And for that to be called in a pivotal moment where on the other end, on the flip side, second half, Mbappe's coming down. There's a situation where it's a 1v1. The keeper ended up getting a red card, but the ref wasn't really ready to go to the VAR for that. I think there should just be some sort of, I don't know, balance, and for whatever reason, whatever happened. But kudos to Barcelona. The 5-2 win was massive. I think Madrid has a lot to think about. Vinny didn't have a great game. I think he needs to step up, especially after what's been going on with him, this red card. There's a lot going around with Vinny. There were a lot of injuries today too. It was one of those El Clasicos that was kind of weird, but these are the matches that we get up for. Kudos to, Barca for another Super Cup win, but I don't know, man. There's just been a lot that's been happening across the leagues with officiating that's kind of just been rubbing me the wrong way, and I don't know if it ever gets better. I don't know if you guys saw the match. I don't know what your take on the full match was on that call. If you thought it was a penalty, you can argue with me, but I don't
No,
know.
no. I agree with you. I agree with you. I feel like football culture now, we've gotten to a place where it's like the way we judge P cases, was there any amount of contact? It doesn't matter if it was intentional, if it was like not even, it doesn't matter. Was there contact? As long as there was if there was a touch, PK. And it really annoys me. It really, really annoys me. And it's a is that called anywhere on the field? Maybe, but I don't know. I think when it comes down to a PK, it has to be a little bit more egregious. We've seen PK calls where the ball hits the guy's hand and he has no clue about it, and it's a PK. What sense does that make? But that's how it's became now. It's like they don't even want to use any type of reasoning. It's just like, oh, hit your hand, oh, PK. I'm sorry.
And that's my
There was
issue.
contact.
Yeah.
And that's my
I,
issue, Mike. There's no more discernment. You know, like at the end of and this is what I was saying during the match. There's no more discernment from the referees. At the end of the day, the VAR is there as a tool. It's not there as a crutch. It's there as a tool. Even when you go to the VAR, the screen to see it in slow motion and determine, you have the full say to say, I saw the contact. I think it's enough to call a penalty. Now, if that is your full call, then I think we need to look at refereeing and determine what is contact and what is foul. Because if we're playing a contact sport and we touch the ball and here it's a foul and here it's not a foul, but here it's a foul only because it's in the box. Now we're playing with fire and it's just weird, man. It's just like we're getting to a point where we don't know what the right call is anymore.
You see, this is my thing. Once we introduced VAR into the game, it changed a lot of things. And we're still in the infancy of VAR. Before, calls used to be gray, even though we're playing with black and white rules, because there used to be something that was called, hey, in the flow of the game, does this make sense to do this? You know, for so example, in the box, you have to like use that area of gray. In reality, can someone jump and put their hands in their pockets? Can someone, you know, what is a natural motion of you making a slide tackle? Yeah, you're going to use this for leverage. So there's something to be said about the common sense being taken away as we've come into this VAR era. Because all VAR is going to do is say, look at the letter of the law. Did the ball touch this man's hand in an unnatural place in the box? If it checks that box, it's a penalty under VAR.
But you know what's funny though? What exactly are we doing that's unnatural? Because we've seen some crazy ones where it's
I,
like,
but
yo,
that's what
dude's not even looking.
that's what I'm
But the
saying.
ball hits his hand.
We
You
need to
know?
determine what natural is. We don't know, but I bet you they have an interpretation of what natural is. You know, but
Mhm,
they also don't give chance for like, just reaction time. Like how fast can a person react given an object is coming to them
mhm,
so fast
yeah.
at this particular speed. So like I said, we're in the infancy of VAR. You know, there needs to be
Mhm.
some gray area, I think, going forward with it. But that call on camera today, that was terrible. You know what I mean? He had already took flight in the air. It's nothing you can do. He's not going to get the ball or anything like that. But by the letter of the law, he didn't make contact with the ball, made contact with the man in the box.
Mhm.
It's a penalty once you get VAR involved. But any regular thinking person before VAR era, you're
Yeah.
not giving that call. You're not.
Yeah. Mhm.
We're not doing that before VAR.
Exactly. Yep.
So that's what we've become. So the tool has now become the crutch, and referees are now scared to make calls. So
Yeah, I
I don't
think
know what we're
That's
going
the
to do.
issue though.
I think
And
for me, like I agree with the overall sentiment. Like I agree with the idea, like especially the idea of like the more it's the tools used, the more of a crutch it becomes. In terms of like, there's not also an equal amount being invested into referee training and referee like recruitment, as probably what's being invested in VAR right now. But I don't know. When I saw that call, I was just like, yeah, that's a penalty. Like, I mean, because my thing is, you do that outside the box. No one needs to call that. But it's the fact that it is getting in the way of of any potential contact from Gavi to create a goal scoring opportunity. I mean, he had it on his chest and he's jumping up, but also like Kamavinga's also jumping up and has studs and it hits with the studs too. So I don't think it's. Here's my thing. I think if it
so
wasn't
so
called,
for so my
what's
so
one
my
thing?
question to you is, what about the contact makes it a foul specifically?
So
Because what about the contact makes it a foul for you?
I think for me, like if it was again, if it was outside the box, it's not that deep. But it's the fact that it is in the box and it's a potential equalizing opportunity that it creates more of an intense pressure on the decision. But for me, it's like, yeah, I mean, he was going for the ball, and he missed it, and he went studs onto onto Gavi's thighs. I think that's just it. But I think
So so
slow mo and all that is making things, because I agree with the reaction speed. Like they're expecting these players to have millisecond reaction speeds, and I'm like, these are humans at the end of the day. So I think, but that's more of a product of slow mo. That's been happening a lot since in every sport since slow mo been involved and replays.
but that's my thing, Solo, because if you're looking at the play, and let's say because the you have to take into consideration context, and that's what I'm saying. There's no more discernment from the ref, right? Let's say Kamavinga isn't, because this is a 50-50 at the end of the day. The ball's in the air, both players are going for it. One player gets there first, right? That's what happens. If Kamavinga isn't there, Gavi never gets control of the ball at all. And the way he's jumping up, the ball's in the air. His chest is going to bounce it right all back towards where it came from. So it's not a condition where if Gavi controls the ball, he can turn and shoot. And the contact from Kamavinga has now stopped him from doing that. You know what I'm saying? This is a play in which even if the ball does get to Gavi and Kamavinga isn't there, he's not able to control it. So for me, you have to use discernment as a ref to say, hey, yes, there's contact there, but it doesn't impede the play in which Gavi wasn't going to control and turn. And that's what we've lost. That's what VAR has now taken away.
I
the
hear
discernment from the ref. And that's why I'm saying we need to figure out something so that, yes, VAR is there to say, okay, this is a contact in the box in which we think there should be a foul called, but the discernment from the ref is a final, hey, this, I understand, but this ain't what that was. That's all I need, and we haven't seen any of that. That's my issue with the refs today.
But my thing is, upon like while you were talking, I wanted to like see it again just to make sure. To your point, one thing is I thought his back was towards goal, so so he wasn't even facing the goal of so that goal scoring opportunity is not the case. But in terms of control, I think you're underselling. I think you're overselling the jump. Gavi wasn't that far off the ground, and he hit it off his chest, and he did it into open space where there's like almost at least 15 yards, 15 and 10, 20 yards between him and the next player. And so I think he actually could have gained control of the ball.
So take into account Kamavinga not being there, bro. So take Kamavinga out of that play, right? He chests the ball. The ball is in the air. It takes him at least 2 seconds to potentially control that ball. That is not enough time for him to turn and shoot, and there's a totally different play there. So that's what I'm saying. As a ref, you have to take into account, bro. If this is something where the ball's placed to him squarely, he can turn and shoot, and Kamavinga hit him on the thigh, that's totally different than what we're seeing here. And for me, there's no amount of contact, or let me not say that. There's no amount of that amount of contact isn't enough for me as a ref to say this should award a penalty. That's all I'm saying. And they're not even doing that anymore. They're saying, I saw contact. VAR is saying, I think it should be a pen. It's a pen. They're not even looking. They're looking at the contact. They're looking at what VAR is suggesting, and then they're using that to make a decision in the end. They are, bro. They are. And it's hurting the game. And it's hurting the game. That's all I'm saying. It is.
They may not listen to you in England. In England, the VAR may tell you, hey, I believe that this isn't a pen, and they'll be like, no, I'm keeping it the way it is. But no, I think that's interesting. All fair points. I just look. I just think that it's crazy when you look at both teams on paper. Yeah, I just think that when you look at Barcelona's lineup, man, like how are they beating Real Madrid 5-2? But no, shout out to them, man. Shout out to Yamal. Shout out to Balde. I really like him. Definitely one of the best left backs in Europe for sure. Lewandowski having like this, late resurgence to his career. Not good for them. But second thing that I wanted to touch on, obviously, is January. Transfer window is open. A lot of players are talking to other teams, seeking different situations, and what we're seeing is we've kind of seen a trend of these players in the Premier League moving over to Serie A. The latest being you know, this is what the papers are saying, but Kyle Walker is wanting to leave Manchester. Well, he does want to leave Manchester City. It's confirmed by yeah, see the screenshot. Like
I
I don't
wanted
know.
to bring it here.
I just
It was that's why he logged me out. My bad.
yeah, but I mean yeah, man. Kyle Walker linked to AC Milan. We're seeing a lot of these English Premier League guys go over to Serie A. What's his name? Philip Billing from Bournemouth. He went to Napoli,
Yeah, he
right?
went to Napoli. Yep.
Billy Gilmore's already at Napoli. Scott McTominay, Lukaku. So, do you guys think that? I mean, Rashford is linked to AC Milan too. I think honestly, that's probably where he'll go. I don't see him going to Dortmund. I feel like AC Milan, no disrespect, I feel like is a bigger club, and I think that that's what he wants to. I know, but I don't know. I feel disrespectful for saying that, but but no. Do you guys think that these Premier League players going to Serie A is a trend, and should it continue?
Yeah, I think like um the examples are interesting. I haven't noticed that trend that you were talking about, but it is there. Uh, for me, like I'll say this again, as a person that started watching football at 2010s now, Italian football basically didn't exist. Like it was the only thing that you really heard about was Premier League, La Liga, and Bundesliga. And there was a time where like I thought even the French league was better than Serie A, but I realized that like it was a lot of their dominance, that's not true. That's 100% not true. But I'm saying like a lot of their dominance, I felt was further back. They had that big scandal, and then that scandal really just tore into their like. I mean, they lost. I mean, that's why Ibrahimovic left. That's why Maldini had to go. I think had to go. No, that's not why Maldini had to go. But there was a couple other big players that left Juventus, AC Milan, the big clubs, and went all over the place. I mean, Jose Winning was in the early 2000s as well. So all of their like success and storied nature, and even like the idea of Italian football, always felt a bit older than or further back than I realized. So for me, I've noticed a resurgence. I mean, even the fact that Inter Milan was in a final against us just 2 years ago. Inter Milan has been amazing. They are not they have been a consistent present team at the CL, challenging people, challenge other teams. I think Juventus has dipped and then is weirdly back. Generally speaking, I feel like the pace of Italian football lends itself better to aging, a little slightly aging players, but not so aging they need to go to the MLS or to Saudi. But they're like right in that weird middle stage, like, and I feel like that's what Serie A is. And I didn't get to say this earlier, but yeah, shout out to Barca for that win because I am actually a Barca fan, and I will say that like. Y'all didn't know this about me. I started with Barca. I started actually with
You know, it's funny. So all of your teams have some sort of suspect corruption. Going
I
on
mean,
around
it is
it.
what it is, bro. Life is
Get this
corrupt.
guy out of
I
here.
live in America, bro. What do you want? Like, so my thing is though, I just want to say shout out to them because if there's one thing that Barca is doing right now by its consistently beating of Madrid, it's letting broke boys around the world know, yeah, y'all got a chance. This is your chance. Even when you don't got money, if you stick to your principles, if
Wow.
you even don't got the pockets, if you stick to your principles, you invest in your youth,
Oh
you do
man.
what you need to do,
I'm
you're
not
gonna still
endorsing
come out.
this.
This man has won two in a row. The Flick has been given Madrid work, and it's been amazing to see because
Hey,
I'm like,
yo.
in what world, bro? In what world did we think that from last year that it would be Barcelona that's gotten the better of them? And hopefully it ends with its silverware. But I was very surprised that going into El Clasicos, Barca is the favorite right now, not Madrid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nah, but I'll say this though. I'll say this. In terms of the young guys moving to Italy, I don't know if you have peeped what Conte is doing. Is anybody paying attention? He's like picking off all the little good young talent on the English teams and assembling his own little super team in Italy. I mean, look at Napoli. Napoli's almost like
Bro,
losing with
I think
no
that they should
like.
Should get
Hiccups.
Rashford.
What?
I was about to say they should get Rashford because they're about to lose Connor Skelly. Go get
I know.
Rashford.
I know. I feel like the only reason Conte won't get Rashford is because of maybe the perception of who he is.
It's the
That's the only
wages.
reason he might not. But I wouldn't mind seeing Rashford at Napoli, to be honest. But any English guy that gets linked with a team outside the country in one of the top 5 European leagues, I think it's always a good decision for you to leave. Because you leaving the Premier League, you're going to be looked at, your value is high because you're leaving the top league in the world. So it could be beneficial to your career. You might be moving on to, a team where they'll give you the keys. You might be the main guy. It'll allow you to be more comfortable playing without the pressure of the English media. So I like the move. I like the wave. I think if they have the opportunity, they should do it.
Mike, you hit the nail on the head, bro. Playing without the scrutiny of the English media, bro. I mean, look at somebody like Philip Billing, right? Just gets to move to Napoli. This guy has been in between the championship and the Premier League fighting with Bournemouth for a lot of his career. And he's young. I think he's only like 23, 24. He's somewhere around there.
Maybe
He's
like
starting
25 now.
25 now.
Yeah.
And he's a namesake. Like, we know who Philip Billing is. Very talented player, but he's had a grueling life as a professional. Now think about it. Now he's moving to Naples in Italy, near the beach where the weather is nice, on a team that's top
28
four,
now. Wow.
that's playing. See, look, Philip Billing, 28. Who would have thought? Now he's playing in Champions League. Now he's top four in Italy. Now he's fighting for the first time in his life. He feels worth. So now the talent that he's had, where like think about it though. Like, think about it on a real life level, bro. Think about it, Salam. Your boy McTominay, who
No, you said worth. You just
your
said
boy,
worth.
no, bro,
The beaches.
your boy
Yeah.
McTominay, your boy
The food.
McTominay, dog. Your boy McTominay, who's been, I love the cat, but for the last 3-4 years, he's had rumors on, should we ship McTominay this summer? Should we ship it in January? Or McTominay isn't a Manchester United player. He's not someone that we know. It's that kind of, and now he goes over and he's balling for Napoli. You can see that he has that little weight off of his shoulder, bro. He's there and he's on a team where he finally feels the confidence to play how he wants. He's able to be a 10. He's able to be a 6. And now he's able to show you everything that we saw spurts of. I think Mike said it before. Sometimes it's better to leave and go somewhere else and spread your wings. I'm looking at the Chelsea FC AC Milan. We got Tomori, we got Tammy, we got Pulisic, we got Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who was starting before his injury. All four of those boys, three of them Chelsea Academy players, went over to AC Milan. They're winning trophies. They're fighting in Champions League. Now Pulisic is looked at as a totally different player than he was 2 years ago when he was at Chelsea. Sometimes it's good to get away from the English media. Go spread your wings. Look at Ademola Lookman, CAF Player of the Year. He was in the Prem 2 years ago, and we were like, Lookman's good, but he's never going to get his shout here. He's never going to be a top 4 team. He's never going to be on a Tottenham. Sometimes you don't need to be on a Tottenham. Sometimes you can go and be on another team and like go ball out. And then people can actually see your worth. And now you're playing in Champions League, and now you can show on a world stage what you can really do. So for me, I love it, bro. I'm not going to be mad because when Chelsea went through our turmoil in 2020 and Roman had to give up ownership and we lost Tomori, that's when I felt pain, bro. Because I knew who Tomori was as a center back, and I knew who the player he could grow into. And so when I started seeing them go to AC Milan, and I started seeing Tammy, and I started seeing, Jose went over to Roma and he picked a few players, I'm like, look, Italy's coming back. Solo, you're right. The whole scandal did mess up Italy for a good 10-15 years. But bro, they're back. Bro, they are totally back. And I love it because it brings world football back into scope, because now we can see more than just La Liga and those two teams balling, and City and Liverpool. Now there's some Italian teams who, when you see them in Champions League, you're like, oh, we got to go fight against these guys. So for me, it's cool. It's dope to see, and I love it.
I think what you're seeing is the trickle down effect of the transfer market being how crazy it was for the last 3 years to it leveling out now. because a lot of these smaller teams now don't necessarily have to sell their big names because they're now competing in competitions that they weren't competing in before. Look at the Nottingham Forests of
Great
the
point.
world, who are now in top four. And now you can't go pluck a Gibbs White for cheap. You can't go pluck some of their top players anymore. You can't go snatch a Chris Wood because now they're competing for big things. So a lot of the big name factor has gone away. And a lot of these small teams, they're good at reinvesting the money that they get from selling their top players into getting structure to keep their team in these top four competitions because they will get more sponsorship money. They'll get that Champions League money, but then they're also able to attract older veterans with quality and keep those teams afloat. So that's what you see in Italy. If you look at the Italian league, it's the average age of some of those top teams is not very old. They get young and upcoming talent, or they get aging players who are like probably just at the tail end of their prime, but are really structurally sound players, and then they get like one or two flair players that they kind of nurture through and pass through. They will sell their flair players for top dollar, and they will reinvest with a free agent here, a veteran here, or whatnot. So that's been the stable of Italian football. So they kind of like move like mid-tier clubs in the Prem, but in their leagues, if the top five teams who operate like that usually get to move on to play in better competition. So for other players, it's a huge boost for them. You know, you might be 22 or whatever it is, but you're the best right back that they have on that team. But you're now playing Champions League for that season, so it helps. It's different players, different stages of their career, but they all still want to compete. So I think that's what you're seeing in Italian football right now. Yeah, the English football, we say, yeah, it's the best league. But if you look at Champions League and all the European competitions, the statistics will say that's not true. So
It's just the most profitable.
it's the most profitable, it's the most exciting, it's the most athletic, I would
Most
say,
marketed, just
most
all that.
marketing and all that. But when you really look at it, the English league plucks ballers from all these other leagues, from Italy, from the French league, from all these different leagues. There's not a ton of like homegrown English talent that's really been like the best players of the league for the most part, unless they've been super overhyped outside of like Harry Kane, I would say. But the rest of them who come and light it up, yeah, they pluck them from other places most of the time.
I will say with Serie A, they I saw like some rumors a couple weeks ago. It was about they're having conversations to reducing the teams from 20 to 18. And I don't think like I don't even like for Serie A games, what's the best place to watch them if you're in America?
I mean, just
ESPN.
Paramount.
Yeah,
Is it on
plus,
Paramount.
one
It's
place.
on Paramount. Paramount
No.
Plus.
okay?
or if you know
Yeah,
if you
you,
have other streaming services, it's
yeah,
readily available.
I'm
Oh,
sure
you
there
can
are.
CBS Sports. I'll say CBS Sports
Yeah.
carries Serie A.
But yeah, I was
That's
just bringing that up is like because
Yeah,
apparently
Kerry say, yeah, that one.
their revenue, there was called their TV revenues had just been that's what they're struggling with is getting that global viewership, I think. And again, it goes back to the PL is the most
Hey,
marketed league.
Yeah, but I
as
mean,
far as the Prem goes,
yeah,
though, NBC better not give up that contract because
yeah,
nobody's done it better than they have so far. And for the last decade, they've been killing it over a decade now. I hope I hope it stays with NBC. I don't want no ESPN touching Premier League.
yeah. I mean, I think with Serie A too. So it makes sense that you would have, that perception because, like you said, you started watching in 2010. But I mean, Serie A at one point was like at the top of European football.
That was king.
Yeah. So that was like, that's where I feel like that in Spain, that's where you went if you were the best. I still feel like the best league is La Liga because the best players always go there. But nonetheless, I think Kyle Walker will be a great addition to AC Milan. I think this trend we're seeing, I think we're going to continue it because, quite frankly, I think that the guys that are playing in the Premier League, their athleticism really you know, it's going to be the difference maker there when you have someone like a Marcus Rashford. If he were to go to Serie A, yeah, maybe week to week you don't have the pace to beat this person and this person, but yeah. Um, but nah, man, let's get into our teams, man. And I just want to start because we've already spent a good time together already. I just want to start with the game today. Let's get into it. So Arsenal versus Man United at the Emirates. I think the third round of the FA Cup. Um, boy, what a game! Boy, what a game! Shout out to the refs into our earlier segment. About the questionable calls that these refs have throughout Europe. Um, but in spite of the ref, in spite of the atmosphere, shout out to the white kids. Um, it was a great game. Before I go, I want you to go, Carrie, because this is a we're gonna have to have after this
Yeah.
after our part we're gonna have to have a very difficult conversation. At least you know.
Arsenal.
Oh, listen, I already know what conversation you're going to go, but
Oh,
all,
oh, it's
Undertaker is coming.
Yeah,
But
crazy.
all I got to say today is about today's, football heritage, man. There's something to be said about that. I don't care if it's a second round, third, fourth, or fifth. Um, my team came to play today. We stood up and we had a good account for ourselves. We moved the ball. I felt really well. We stayed compact where we needed to stay compact. The manager had a good plan, I would say, up until Dalot made that boneheaded mistake. Um, I can't believe he did that. The goal we scored, that cutback, we talked about shooting or cutting back in the box. You saw that cutback, but the pass was better. So two things can be true at the same time. So a better pass at the right play yields a goal. Um,
He was waiting to bring that one up, huh?
hey man, I'm just saying, I'm just saying. Y'all brought me on here to speak the truth. But but no, it was a great game overall. The goal we gave up, I mean, it is what it is in that situation. But to go for an hour, being one man down, and to hold Arsenal off at home, and the manager to bring the substitutions that he made in the game. That young boy came on and he held his own. Xerxes, who was an outcast, who everybody booed, looked like the prodigal son, I mean, came and saved us, went down to penalties. That boy Kai Havertz, man, he needs to donate the rest of his salary for the year to some form of charity because that man could not find a goal today. He couldn't find it right in front of it, couldn't find it on a penalty. He couldn't find it at all. I feel so bad for him. But shout out to Kai Havertz. I might get your kit in that white that y'all had on today. But all I gotta say is, my manager made the right tactical changes. My manager did what he needed to do today. My manager took our team into a hostile environment and got it done. My manager coached the players up. And my manager put that boy Xerxes in a position to redeem himself. And what he do? Bang, 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 shoot him up. That's all I gotta say. Glory, glory, Man United. Shout out
I
to
just want to say
Arsenal fans.
shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. And shout out to Rajad. Shout out to Gerard. Shout out to everybody, man. If you're a United fan, it's a good day. Like Harry said, man, there's really, aside from Delo, there's really not anyone that I thought uh, that didn't play well. I thought everybody played well. I thought that Delo made a mistake, deserved to get sent off, but Obviously, some of the other bookings I thought were very questionable. Again, the ref wanted to give the game to Arsenal. So like, not only were we playing with a man down, but they were playing with 12 men. We were playing with 10. It's all good. It is what it is. A hostile environment. I said last week before we had left that recently we've gone to the Etihad. We've won. Tough environment. We went to Enfield, got a 2-2 draw there. And now here we are. Here we are at the Emirates, right? And we knocked them out of the FA Cup. Character defining win today. Obviously, we're through to the next round, but character defining win today. Shout out to the manager for putting trust into our keeper by India. I'll be honest with you guys. In the group chat, I told you, why is this dude in goal? That's what I said.
Player of the game.
But listen though. And again, to your point, Kerry, shout out to the manager for him to put him back in goal. Because no disrespect, you are the reason why we are out of the Carabao Cup. for him to put him back in goal, for him to give him that confidence as well too. Shout out to him, man. And obviously, I thought he could have done better on the goal. I thought he could have done better with the just handling the punch or at least redirecting the punch somewhere else. But nonetheless, we give up the goal. And after he made the save, like I feel like our momentum just completely shifted. And to be very honest with you, I'm not being shameless. You guys can speak on Arsenal. If we had 11 men, we would have beat them 100%. 100%. 100%. And to be very honest with you, part of it was because I just felt like they weren't going to score. But shout out to Xerxes. Shout out to Ugarte. Oh my God, Ugarte. So,
Relax.
what a signing. What a signing. He's giving me a potato. Yeah. But
Shout out to Lenny Euro too, man. Big penalty.
bro, shout out to don't get me started, bro. Shout out to the Euro, our future. The more and more I see him, just the more I'm just wow, what a signing, man. He's gonna be one of the best center. Just wait, man. Just wait on that. But hey, shout out to Harry Maguire, played very well. They try to hit us with that dodge penalty, but like Harry said, football heritage. Man, shout out to Bruno, Alejandro Garnacho. Finally, you look up, you made the pass. Under Ten Hag, he would have shot the far post deflection, but no, man. Shout out to everybody, man. The only thing I would say, like, I just don't think Kobe works like in the middle of the field. I think he needs to be further up the field. I think him closer to goal is really where you're going to get the most out of him. He's just not. We don't do a good job of keeping the ball, and like if he's not on the ball, defensively he's not really going to help us. He doesn't have the. I would say
he's not mobile enough.
Yeah, he can't do it in the midfield. So, but nah, man. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Delit. Delit was amazing today. The media were trying to paint this narrative about him, about how he wasn't a good signing, but the fact that, I mean, he's been
solid.
He's been very solid, bro. It's just our best signing has been Mazraoui, so we can't say that he's been our best signing. But if we didn't have Mazraoui, he would be our best signing. Shout out to Lissandro for playing through the injury. Huh. My God. I mean, everybody, bro. There's really not anybody that I can say. And then lastly, shout out to Xerxes, man. It's crazy, bro. A week and a half ago, got subbed off. People try to say that you got booed. I still don't think that he got booed. I think that they were just booing everybody. You guys are
Salam, bro. Stop.
No,
Stop.
Cornelius.
Cap, stop.
Hold on.
Bro, we're not doing that.
Let me ask you this.
We're not doing that, bro.
You get subbed off You get subbed off, and then
you came on here and said you thought the fans were wrong. We not
no,
doing
no. I said I thought the manager was wrong. The manager was wrong. The manager was wrong. But I didn't think that he was getting booed. You're telling me you're running off the field and people are booing you? What? If they wanted you off the field, they'd be applauding you running off the field, not booing you. They're probably booing you because they probably think it's a bad decision by him getting subbed off. Nonetheless, a week later at the Emirates, game-winning goal. It's so amazing because, but I think that this was a great start to 2025. You know, for us to tie Liverpool 2-2, and then for us to come in here and knock Arsenal out of the FA Cup, that's a big team. This isn't Coventry or Morecambe or disrespect. Yeah, or Noah. None of this. You know what I'm saying? Travis. You're just playing. But anyway, I think that this was a great team win, man. Hopefully for the locker room, they can continue to build from this. Yes, we're going to have inconsistencies week to week, but I think you're really starting to see improvement with the team. So obviously, we got Arsenal at a very good time. I'll say it, we did, because they don't really seem they can score right now. But aside from it being from set pieces, but not wholeheartedly, I believe that if we had 11 men, we would have won the game. That's yeah. Even with 10 men, we were still in the ass. So yeah,
I
man.
agree. Definitely agree. With 11 men, we would have definitely won that game. And one thing I definitely want to say here, and like Xerxes' performance today, the time he put in on the field was so much better than Rasmus Højlund's time. I know he's been getting negative play from the media, but as a footballer, Xerxes is a better player than Rasmus Højlund. I would say that
100%.
The thing is, what he's being asked to do by his manager is something that is not within his skill set. So people need to realize and identify a footballer who's playing in a system that doesn't suit them versus a player that's not good and is being hyped. So I'm just going to say this for the people. Xerxes can play this game. Rasmus Højlund cannot. There are things in this game he will never get, even though he's got more. That touch, if you have a bad touch as a player, we all know this. You ain't getting it. You're not.
He's a striker.
Kick the ball 50 times on the wall, 30 times a night. You're still not getting it. You know what I mean? So so let's ease up on Xerxes. I just want to say that, you know what I mean? The man's only been here 6 months, but
Big Z.
I say put Kobe up in the 10, put Ahmad in the 10, put Xerxes at the 9, and drop Bruno back in the midfield if you want to play him so much next to Ugarte, and let this team cook.
All right.
I think there's a lot to be said about this other team's performance. Yeah, that's perfectly summed up in that sound. That's the to whom the bell tolls on Arteta's career as a manager right now. We have a lot of questions, man.
Yeah,
I think 5 years, one FA Cup, 900 million spent, brought in 30 players, and only 6 attackers. Only 6.
Damn.
Of those considered forwards or attackers. And you brought Raheem Sterling, misfiring. Like, the fact that Pep got as many goals out of Raheem Sterling blows my mind. Gabriel Jesus, same situation. Constantly offside, is not a main goal scorer. And what's crazy to me was that in both those instances, those 2 players single-handedly are to blame for why Kevin De Bruyne doesn't have 500 assists, in my opinion. It is actually crazy to me. And he bought them. Then he buys Kai Havertz. And I'm just like, okay, Havertz wasn't known for his goals at the time, but he found some play out of him. What are we doing here? Like Arteta, I'm just really confused. Like, how does a club go 21 years without winning a league? How does a club that hasn't ever won any European silverware has so much to say on a global scale? They, honestly, since Holland said it best, stay humble. Arsenal is a club in decline in many ways, and I think it's partly because if Pep hadn't done what he did to stop honestly, the last two trophies, how hard they went for those, I'm like, dang, I know that has destroyed something inside as a player, as an institution. You're gonna feel like and I feel so bad because I honestly feel like if they did win those two, we would see a resurgence in Arsenal as an actual like club. But all I see now is they're going the way of United in 2013, 14, 15, that time at sixes, sevens, the eights. They need to be there for
we win. We win shit.
That's true. You still win stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying in the league, they need to. I think they really have to like readjust as fans, readjust expectations around what is because when we say football heritage, it goes both ways. 20 years is a lot of heritage to build up, not winning anything. And I'm gonna just say that. So for me, Tottenham and Arsenal is Tottenham with style. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Every team that has everybody I knew that joined was picking up the soccer in the past 10 years. Everybody almost picked Arsenal. Almost picked. I remember even myself was like, I want a PL team. This Arsenal team, they seem pretty good.
I gotta play this. I gotta play this.
I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here because it's getting ridiculous. It's really ridiculous.
I'm telling you. I was sitting here, I was like, when I was watching Yaya at City, I was like, this Arsenal team was crazy. They got Cazorla. They got what is it called? Giroud. Like the Arsenal, the finger ball. This looks amazing.
Finger ball.
Nothing, bro. It's so frustrating.
I want to say,
I am frustrated at Arsenal. Arsenal is Africa's team in many ways. A lot of Africans I know support Arsenal. And I'm like,
no.
Hell no.
Next to United, maybe. I don't know. But like all I'm gonna say is a lot of Africans I know support Arsenal. And I'm like, y'all, for sure. I'm sorry that they have let y'all down like that.
Mike, I'll give it to you.
I'm so happy I picked City.
I'll give it to you after this, Mike. So it's funny that you say that you've been watching the game since 2010. What you're saying has been going on before your time.
That's crazy to me.
So when I tell you guys all the time about this team, and y'all think I'm hating, I know what I'm telling you about this team, man. I've seen it, and the fact that you've come in 2010 and you've this frustrated. Imagine how I feel. I've been invested in this game longer than you.
Bro, I shouldn't want them to do better, but I will do because I'm like, y'all.
No, man, I love the delusion of it. You know what I mean? It's like every year, you know what I mean? It's like this is our year. We have this, we have that, and what I go on here and I put it on wax every time. You can go and see it's type and timestamp. You're not going to win nothing this year. I literally type it out for you. You know. Just so you know. So this is 3 years in a row running with the same message that I've written. It's timestamp. Yeah. I do it the same time of the year every time. So it's like, just so you know, it's coming earlier this time.
Oh my goodness.
The link up play, like Alexis Sanchez, I just remember watching, I was like, how is this team not winning?
Yeah,
what am I
that
missing?
era?
It's champagne soccer. Like when Arsenal was like at the peak of their powers, they had people doing, somebody doing the dirty work for them. They had a Vieira, they had a Gallas. You know what I mean? They had, this
real
team.
men.
Yeah, this team. Like I said, I always tell you, they bought the wrong kind of rice for 100 million, man. They should have bought jollof. Bro, they went and got this unseasoned rice, and this is what they're getting
from day one. What I tell you guys. Arteta is no tactician. Bro, I was the biggest hater on this podcast
Don't start that.
for not buying into this Arteta movement. But what did I do? When they were playing well, I gave him his credit. I'm like, I'll back off of you because clearly you're doing something right. It's been what? It's been 5 years now, but they've been good consistently for 2.5. Bro, it's not that difficult to figure out. It is really not that difficult to figure out. If you're an Arsenal fan and you're sitting there and you're actually believing that some of these guys you have just recently bought and invested in was the right decision, you're just lying to yourself. These guys sat here and tell us Kai Havertz that's been unlocked. Like what kind of unlocked did you guys see? What kind of unlocking? Like I don't understand. And it's like sometimes it's almost disrespectful to. I'm like, wow, you really want me to believe that you actually believe that? Like I know you know ball, but I know you don't believe what you're telling me. You just don't believe it, but you want me to believe it. It's crazy to me that, bro, the year that they didn't win, they sat on the top of the league for what 94% of the time. Me and Gabriel went at it here, and I told him the Prem doesn't work that way. We get close this year, we're coming back next year. It never works like that. It never works like that. Bro, how many times have we seen that? It doesn't happen often. You get close this year, next year you'll be back. Oh, because Saliba was injured, we'll be back. You've never won anything with Saliba. What made you think that next year, because he's there, you're gonna win? This is phase one. Last year, what did they do? They added Kai Havertz. Oh, we
Phase one is crazy. Like it's a Marvel
when
cinematic.
bro, when they were like, oh,
Well, actually, they're in phase 5, putting the coach.
Bro,
Definitely
when the Declan Rice thing was happening, I wanted him eventually, but then I was like, the more I watched him, I was like, bro, I don't think Declan Rice is like end or be all. You got to go get.
Hold on, Mike. So you actually have been pretty
right on all the things they've done. I literally been right on every fucking thing they've done.
Him specifically, you don't think that Declan Rice like warranted that type of price tag?
No, I don't. No, I don't think he's a needle mover for a club like Arsenal. Bro, if you're gonna go get somebody 100 million, go get 12. Somebody that's actually going to move the needle. Like there's going to be a difference. You can go find somebody in another league that can do what Havertz does and doesn't cost 100 million. I truly believe that. I truly believe that.
You think Caicedo's better than him?
Yes, Caicedo's better, 1,000 much better than him. Bro,
as a CDM,
I don't know what you see. Like, okay, he's hitting crosses from the corner. Like, what is he doing that impresses you guys? I don't see it.
If Declan Rice had if Declan Rice had an African passport, he would be a 15 million player.
No, I don't see it.
Yeah, it's the English tax is heavy.
One guy every time, and now they're gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, we can't buy this, we can't buy that, we can't buy that." I'm not trying to hear it, bro.
I think the biggest, yeah,
in 2 domestic competitions that they should have been fighting for the trophy for in a week. You're not going to St. James. You're not going to do anything at St. James. Like, focus on the Premier League and Champions League. Because at this point, it's done for them.
I think Gabriel said it best, and this is, and I understand their fan base being upset, but this is kind of Arteta. This is on Arteta, but Gabriel said it best.
Yeah,
Gabriel said it best, right? He said, from a fan base perspective, they've been so close to winning the league for the last 2 years that they kind of are expecting to be in that race from now on, right? But where they've kind of fallen by the wayside are the FA Cups, these Carabao Cups. If Arteta takes these a little bit more seriously, he gets the fan base off his back. Like y'all said, he's been there for 5 years. He only has one Community Shield, and he has the FA Cup. That FA Cup was, or he has 2 Community Shields.
Yeah, it's 2 Cornelius. It's 2.
He'll be sure to tell you it's definitely So don't.
That's not quelling the fan base's thirst for a real trophy, bro. Like, we Community Shield is a preseason thing. So for me, he needs to take one of the two things seriously. Bolstering up his offense and getting a real striker so they can compete in the league, or saying, hey, it's going to take time, but I think this process will work with the team we have. Go win some of these smaller tournaments like the FA Cup or a Carabao Cup and see some consistency in what he's trying to build. Because I think where the issue is they've built and built and built, and they're not really seeing anything come to fruition. And why? And I was telling Gerard this today. I say I see why Arsenal fans get so mad at United fans specifically, because at the end of the day, United can be in 12th place, but they win trophies. And Arsenal fans don't understand that. They say, look, we've been working our tails off to get this whole rebrand, and it was, you trust the process, and now the process has finally been trusted, and we got to second place, but there's no ice cream and sprinkles at second place. You know what I mean? But when you get these trophies, when you win the FA Cup, when you win the Carabao, there's that moment of elation where you could be like, dang, everything we fought for, it came to fruition. And that's what's up with Arsenal's fan base. They're frustrated because they keep going on the date with the girl, but the girl isn't saying I want to be your girlfriend yet. They're trying, bro. They're doing
Always
everything.
The bridesmaid.
They're trying everything, but they just haven't crossed the threshold yet. And that's why I understand where they are.
Let me ask you this.
I think honestly, just
Go ahead.
Number
Finish
one thing that points out the thing about Arteta that, like, when I saw this, because I had to look this up to double check, but how do you justify 5 years and not getting a proper striker? It doesn't make sense.
No sense.
It makes none. You
know what even blows my mind?
Dorcas, you passed up on 3-4 different amazing.
No, but you know what's even crazier? He let Eddie Nketiah walk this year, right? You let him walk. Yeah, I guess you have your Havertz and Jesus. You let him walk, and then you go get Raheem Sterling. I that's the thing. I don't even know if it's his idea to get Raheem Sterling, so I don't want to put that on him. But this is my question I want to ask you guys. What has been the major difference? Okay, if you take the FA Cup away, which I usually don't even like giving him credit for because it was Unai Emery's team. Since you revamped your team, you haven't been able to get close. You got there with Unai Emery's team, but I'll still give him the FA Cup. Take the FA Cup. Let's put the FA Cup aside for a second. What has been the difference between this Arteta project and what Pochettino did at Spurs? I was saying it last year. This Arsenal team reminds me of the Pochettino project. You get close, you're not going to win though.
It's a bridge to know,
but you're not going to win.
I think he certainly got a lot closer than Pochettino did. I think Pochettino
was at a final.
Pochettino got a Champions League final, man.
Yeah,
Pochettino,
he was one goal away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. But what I'm saying is, I'm not taking that away from him. I think that probably is the biggest thing that he's done because he didn't win anything, right? Mm-hmm. So that's probably like the pinnacle of how far he took that team. Arteta has them competing 2 years in a row in the Premier League. And I guess this year too, they're still in it. So I don't know. I this year as well too. So I think I think with the money that they've invested, I think that they've been better for a longer duration of time. Because that Spurs team with Harry, they weren't doing anything. I think the year Leicester won, I think they were
finished second. Yeah, it was between them and Leicester, and they finished second. So they can boast finishing second too.
Like, nobody cares about that.
So
it's either you win it or you don't. You know what I mean? And
we don't remember you for finishing second. This is what the Arsenal fans do. They want to remind us so much. Oh, we finished second 2 years in a row. He got a medal for that.
He spent way more money. He spent way more money than Poch. So
it's harsh to put it that way, but I'm like, guys, let's wake up. Stop disturbing us with this fake hype. Like we've seen it before. We
It's
saw
the,
it with Arch. The
it's the
teams
same
that
thing
were
with
good,
Wenger.
they were
Yeah.
competitive. They
I don't
didn't
know.
win anything.
I think
Finish
that they're
top four.
I think
You
that they're
know,
better.
keep the
So
bills paid.
But yeah, but
the Wenger team that all these guys wanted Wenger out compared to this team, which team was better?
No, Mike, easily this team is
Think
better.
about it.
This team is
You think
better.
this team was better?
Mike, this team in their club history, they have the most points ever, like in their club's history. So like my thing, Gabriel's not here, but I was gonna ask him like, this is your, at least for me, this is like my
on paper, most talented.
no, it
I
is
don't
your,
think it's that
like
significant. I really don't think it's that significant.
no, it is, bro.
The gap is not that big. It's
Mike,
really not.
they statistically it's not even close. They beat their own club record. Like, when you look at their Arsenal record books from years to come, you're gonna look back on this core team and be like, this is the team that got us the most points, even on top of the Invincibles and all that shit. Like they've accumulated the most teams, so that's why. Like when you talked about like Pochettino's team, it's like, well, no, I feel like Arteta has almost brought them to a point where this is almost their, you could say their best in club history.
No,
Damn
but
near.
you know, I hate that perception
Invincible would be the
because
best.
it's like if you look around the league, there were a lot of things not happening. Liverpool had injuries, Chelsea had injuries, United had injuries. All these big teams that usually were competing had injuries. So the last couple of years, if you look at it, the real reason they've been there was because some of these teams were dead. And
Yeah,
kind
they
of
were the
like now
healthiest
you,
team last year.
bro, I don't. It's something that makes me sound like a hater, but I'm just like, bro, I'm really not impressed with this thing. It's like you're
And
either doing it
and look,
or you're
and
not. I don't like this. I'm in the middle, but I have to. You feel like you're doing it. No, you're not even. You've not even surpassed. You haven't gotten to the top.
Yeah, but
You're in
and
the
to, and
they
to
middle.
be
if they weren't in the same era as Pep, they would have won. I mean, this is a really good team. It's
No, they
unfortunate
are, but
like
no,
that
I agree.
team.
it's like
Like
a
they just
championship winning team. So it's
They the
like,
Utah
I get
Jazz
it.
in the Jordan era.
nah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
no,
I
they
mean,
are.
yeah.
but you're not winning
I
anything.
guess because obviously we see what City. I feel like when we look back at Manchester City, I think what they were last year, like the best, like that's the best they've ever been. Like when they
Mm-hmm.
won the
Trouble.
treble, like that year was like okay, and that was like damn, you just happened to get caught at that point of time. I guess Liverpool as well too. Liverpool was on a tear, but
The
they just
2 years Arsenal was relevant. Those were the 2 years Liverpool was struggling, and the 2 years Chelsea was struggling. I'm just saying, add
I
some
mean,
context to it.
The
No,
now you got
underdog
I
gimmick is
agree. I
getting
agree.
old,
I
and
agree.
I think like they've always been as a club. When I think about like when they were back in the day winning, they were within the context of United being good. Similarly, during the time of Chelsea, they always were like when I would like watch these like kind of Premier League like documentaries, it'd be like, oh, and then there was Arsenal. And then nothing happened, and then we kept going. It's like, and they just every team, and they get caught in these like situations where some other team is having a generational moment. But at the same time, I'm like, what do you want? Leicester won. Leicester did that year. That should have been you. Help me understand that.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
just bad lucky, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a good place to end it because we've been talking about Arsenal in this match for 20
yeah.
minutes. But I mean, honestly, it's just we could talk about them all day because it is an interesting topic. And
Mm-hmm.
like we've all said, we all have some sort of allegiance. Maybe not allegiance, but we all have some sort of ties to Arsenal. You know, they are a historic club. They all, you know, they have one of the most history clubs in the Prem in Europe. Well, not in Europe, but for them, we all kind of look at them as little brother. And to be honest, Solo, to your point, to be a big dog, you got to beat the big dogs, bro. If you want to have your moment, you have to go get your moment. Why do you think and then there was Arsenal, and then there was this team, and then there was Arsenal, and then there was that team? Because we go and take our moments. And so these are all questions we can ask Gabriel when he's on here. Obviously, he's ducking the smoke today for whatever reason. So when he's on here, we can ask these to his face since he is, the resident Arsenal fan. But this is all speculation. But for me, I'm looking at Arteta saying, look, this is your club. Like Mike said, you've been here 5 years. Like Solo said, 900 million spent. We aren't looking at attacking players. And now we're down Saka, we're down Jesus, we're down Wanieri, and we're supposed to go make a title push. So now, and like I said last week, January, you need to make a signing. Salam was being facetious and funny, saying, no, Arteta thinks he has the guys that he needs to go fight. No. It's none of that no more.
He does. He believes that shit,
Salam,
bro. He believes that shit.
Salam.
I can't take that, Cornelius.
No.
Cornelius, he does. He
Salam,
does.
whether or not he believes it, the guys are gone now.
Without strikers,
three guys are gone. So if he still believes he has this team, that he's delusional and he needs to go. That's what it is. Because there's no chance you can go down with your 3 attacking players when you already lack attacking players. One of them being the best player on your team, thinking you can go win the league. It doesn't make any sense.
Another Mkhitaryan situation.
Maybe 4 weeks ago, he thought he could go win the league with this team. But is this in the same team? He needs to go buy somebody in January. I'm just going to end it there because, we could talk about Arsenal, we talk about United, but I want to say United did what they were supposed to do. They went down a man and they attacked and they said, look, we're going to go win this game. And they did. And that's the end of the day. Arsenal, y'all got to figure it out because no one has sympathy for you guys. You guys were the most healthy team this last 2 years and you didn't take advantage of it. So don't try to cry wolf now and expect people to feel bad for you while other people are taking advantage. So that's just how I feel about it. But speaking about taking advantage, City went ahead and took advantage of I don't even remember who they played.
Elite transition.
Yeah, 8-0. That's how you do a pun. You don't say it's going to be great. You kind of take what the field gives you and you slide in. You feel me?
What is that from? What is that from?
It's from the Tony the Tiger.
Wow.
Frosted Flakes, yeah.
Flakes.
But no, I mean honestly, City, like I said last week, they had a rough end to 2024, but they started 2025 the right way. They're winning games, they're getting back in form, they're gaining their confidence, and this is what you don't want to see. Them get these goals, get back in form right in the end, mid-January, right when the games start to get a little bit more important. Like we said, these are the later rounds of these domestic cups. They still are in Champions League, so they still do have games coming around the corner where these games are starting to matter. And I think this is when Pep really starts to turn the key and get a little bit more locked in. We always see City go through a little bit of a blip, and it's usually always in the first half of the season, whenever that is. But usually once the turn of the year happens, they lock in, and I'm starting to see City lock in. We already know that they're starting to be very active in this January transfer window. They went ahead and got that Uzbekistani player. Forgive me, I've forgotten his name. We already know they're looking at Omar Marmoush, player from Frankfurt. Very, very talented player. The way that it's sounding, it looks like the deal is very, very close to being done. These are 2 big signings coming at the right time for City. You know what I mean? And so for me, I'm looking at this team, not really with what they did today, but kind of how they're building, they're getting back to their City ways right at the right time. Solo, I don't know if you watched the match today. I didn't see it. I kind of just watched some highlights, but it was good to see the youth play. Shout out McAtee. He had his hat trick today. There's very, very talented player coming up through the ranks, but also played 2 defenders, which I thought was very, very, it was very telling. It was very telling for Pep. For me, it shows me that he might have to rely on some of these guys later down the road, and he wants to see what they look like because he played 2 young guys next to Ake, and I thought, wow, we got 3 light skins in the back. That's crazy. But, it looked good. Obviously this team wasn't up to the same talent level as you guys, but y'all look good. I just want to see, what your take is from this game, but more so looking down the road, what do you think this City team can do and your hopes to get back in the top 4?
Yeah, Yeah, when I saw the scoreline, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to couch it in the context. We're not playing an Arsenal. We're not playing, Chelsea. We're playing Salford City. And I think, there's a level of expectation for us to perform, but in our current state, it was hard to imagine that it was going to be like 8-0 in particular. I was like, maybe like we get 4-3. They might get one in. So I'm happy with the scoreline because it's the first time since the season started that I've been surprised by City in a good way. And so I think that's always nice to know, like, okay, I can look at the next week and say like, oh, I can look forward to the next game being potentially a win in most cases, which feels good. It feels like it's back to our winning ways, essentially. Shout out Doku because it's great to see him score. I think I just need him to do it when it matters, and not even when it matters, like at a final. Do it. Get started. Score your first goal in, like, I don't know, a quarterfinal or something. Like, do something like in a time when we really need it versus in a time when we should be winning. But I'm really proud of just how he showed up. And yeah, Grealish got his goal. Still going through a pretty deep slump. He might be one of the players that goes as well, not this window, but in summer most likely. And yeah, I don't know. It's a weird time for City because January, sometime this month, we're gonna get the cases are gonna be resolved for the first round if it doesn't go to appeals. And so that's just something that's there.
I just resolved.
We don't know how it's going to be resolved, but we're going to see when
you just know it's going to be okay.
Before the appeals. Yeah, because
they already announced they have their decision. They just have to do whatever they got to do,
all the paperwork and stuff.
Yeah, third.
And so we'll see where that goes. But either way, just like the fact that we're this aggressive in the transfer market makes me feel some level of confident, because it says like you don't have players like Marmoush who has such a promising future and with a good agent going to a club that is like whatever that's being talked about in those negotiations, I think are obviously benefiting the club because it's not affecting our pool. It's not affecting our ability to get players when we need them. And I
need to say.
This is the same thing Chelsea did when we got our ban. We just went and we bought a whole bunch of players, bro.
Bro, he got his contract. He got his contract in cash.
That's not fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's a good point. But either way, like, yeah, I like to see the new signings. I'm excited about Kusanov. I still need to see us get a proper striker. We have zero backup to Holland. We do not have another striker. So Marmoush coming in, he can do that, but he's not. There's really no other forward to relieve Holland when needed.
What about Mubama?
I want to say
Mubama, I think this is his first game. I would like to see him do more of the cup, like play in another cup and see how he performs. If he keeps going, if he plays another game at Carabao or whatever, I don't think we're in Carabao, but in the FA Cup, then yeah, if he does great, then keep going. But it's literally first game. He seems good, but like we don't know. I think that's one thing with that I've appreciated about the club is that outside of this past summer, where I think we should have made investments more deeply, it's a club that really runs itself so well to where when things start to fall off, we're not that far from being able to resolve it properly in the transfer market or within our academy. And City's academy is producing talent, and I think it's interesting because when I think about some big clubs, like, for example, Real Madrid, you think they'd have an academy that would have produced many players in the past 10 or so years, but really not many have come out of there that have gone on to do crazy things. But City, you're seeing them everywhere. So, yeah, the club is looking good. Happy
clubs
about
are set up different. Madrid's never really had like a crazy academy like that.
I know, but it's always
like Barca.
They just acquire talent.
That's my thing is like even within the clubs. So you have like the big youth academies like Ajax, right? And what's another?
Just say it, man.
Chelsea has a huge.
Why is it so hard for y'all to say?
No, I literally just didn't get there. I think United has a good academy, but City's academy has gone underappreciated for what it's been producing in the past years.
I can agree with that.
You have Brahim Diaz at Real Madrid. You have Foden, Sancho that came from the academy.
Marvin Rogers, Delap.
Yeah, Delap. What is it called? Romeo Lavia.
Tosin.
Yeah, it's Tosin Adebayor. This is
You
a
know,
good
you
one.
know, Odegaard and Muhammad Kudus
Rogers.
had a trial there.
Yeah,
Muhammad
Really?
and Odegaard had a trial at Manchester City. There's a picture of them together, and there's a
yeah.
lot of the press.
I'm
And then
not saying
Morgan
we are on the level of the major academies, but it's an academy that's produced pretty consistently, and I feel like I like seeing these cups where we play some of our team because more and more people see like McAtee, Cole Palmer. I mean, it's just nonstop, man.
I mean, I think good win for you guys. I mean, there's nothing really to talk about in regards to this win, but for me, it's disgraceful. This is the first goal we're getting from Grealish in over a year. Like that's not acceptable. I don't care how much you guys are winning. I don't care how much other guys are contributing. 100 million, and this is your first goal in over a year, and it's against some third tier team. Come on, man. Can't even celebrate that. Should be embarrassed. So I don't know. I think he's a fraud. Nobody talks about, but hopefully that he can actually give you something because I feel like he's just. It's annoying watching guys like that. It's almost like, what are you doing? Like,
I
why
think,
are you still here?
yeah, you're talking about Grealish, right?
Yeah,
Um,
Grealish.
yeah, I think that the problem with Grealish is that him and Pep, they're the type of player that Grealish is not the type of player that meshes well with Pep. And it's just Pep has never been good with players that have like strong personalities or need to like be creative. That's why Cole Palmer was gonna really struggle actually at City. And I think at the end of the day, as selfish as it would be to like keep him with us, but really with Pep's obsession over system and understanding,
Mm-hmm.
that boy dense. Man, that boy out here to play ball. All he got, you talking about why he's good with space management? Because he got a bunch of space in his head. That man ain't, he's doing his own thing out there. And so my thing is with him, I'm like, with him, I think is another perfect example of like Pep
Mhm.
players. Some players do not work with Pep's system, and I think as Pep has switched to speedy wingers, and he's for whatever reason not wanting to test them in the midfield, and I think he's also a confidence player. Grealish is, and so it's just a negative, toxic relationship that's happening there. Where I'm like, it might actually be better for him as a player. I want to
Yeah,
see him be like Aston Villa again. You know what? Go to Serie A, watch that boy ball out in Milan.
yeah.
Oh man, he was
I
off.
don't even think he needs to go to Serie A. I think he never should have went to you guys. He was a player that he needs to be on the ball. You go to you go to the one team in the Premier League that constantly has the ball moving. The only person that's really on it is De Bruyne. But I really think like him, this could be a shout. But like I don't know, bro. I think if he were to go back to Villa, hmm,
Yeah, it'd be a good little squad for them.
You went to the wrong Manchester. You should have came to us.
yeah. I don't know, man. I just
Yeah.
Grealish at United with what we have the culture. I don't know, bro. I don't. He really crashed out before our eyes.
Bro.
Yeah.
It's
Grealish and Pogba in the same field. That's
Grealish,
that's
Uh,
that's wavy.
nah, man. But let's
mhm.
close out, man. Chelsea, man. You guys played Morecambe. You guys
Yeah,
won.
man. It's nothing to really talk about. It's like I mean, this was they said it on the broadcast. This was pretty much our conference league lineup. You know, most of the guys that usually don't play in the Prem played in this game. A 5-0 win. We haven't won a game in 4 games, I believe. It's what, 2 draws and 2 losses? Yeah, 2 draws and 2 losses. So we needed this game. So I'm glad we got it. Took care of business. We're back again Tuesday, so I hope this builds some confidence. The guys that usually play got some rest. We should be ready to go. Homework is coming to us. Another home game. So I'm hoping, confidence is up. Reece James is back. Played the first half. Bro, when I was watching him, man, a healthy Reece James on the right side of the field, when healthy, I don't think there's anybody in the world better than him. Bro, the crosses is so effortless and it's so accurate, just like Trent, obviously. But then he can go back and defend, make the right decisions in the back. A healthy Reece James, bro, I would take him any day over anybody in the world. But you got to stay healthy. So I mean, I would see what happens with him because man, we cannot get 5 games in a row from him. So I'm hoping that he can just stay healthy.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet because I didn't watch the match. I will say I was excited to see Reece James get the start, Mike. I'll agree with that. It was good because he's been on the bench, and we know that he's been back in training. But like I said with him, bro, just keep it light. Like for me, we need our captain to be available, right? But I also need him to be at his best. And for right now that it's January, it's good that he's getting, 45 minutes here, 30 minutes there, whatever it is, because we're still a top four team, like all things
Mhm.
considered, we're still a top four team. We're still in Conference League. We're still in FA Cup. So we still are in three heavy competitions. I would like to see him play 60 minutes. I would love to see him play full 90 minutes, but not
Mhm.
necessarily in January or February. I love that we're easing him back, and I think Maresca needs to take his time.
Mhm.
Secondly, it was good that we got our win, but my biggest concern is the players that we saw today aren't going to get time in the Champions League. So this confidence they have, this feel good that they have, this Joao Felix scoring, a brace, this Nkunku getting a goal. Are we going to see them in the Prem? Are they going to
Yeah.
be able to use their influence when we need to maybe go grab a goal? Mike just said it. This is our first win in 5 matches, 2 draws, 2 losses. I could have used it in Cuckoo and possibly one of those matches, but we didn't see him. Joao
Mhm.
Felix, I'm still not sold on him because he shows up in the smaller games and during the bigger games when he
Yeah.
gets to start or when he gets a run. In the
Nothing.
Prem, we don't really see this same guy. But for me, it's good to see Nkuku get a goal. It's good to see Reece James on the pitch. It's good to see these things, but like I said, I'm kind of done with the honeymoon phase with Maresca. We're into 2025 now. I need to see more stability. I need to see you taking a chance on Nkunku when you're seeing him score goals. Maybe try him in the Prem. Obviously, things haven't been working with the guys that we've been putting out there. It's time to switch it up. Last week, Mike said, hey, maybe it's time to switch it up a little. So let's take this momentum into the Prem as well. Those are the only takeaways I have for real. I just want to see us continue this because, like I said, we still have a lot of competitions we're in. The league is not by any means over. Liverpool hasn't won it by any means. Nottingham Forest is in second place right now. So that shows how wide open the league is. And it shows that it's anyone's league. Just like Solo said, they're making moves in this January, which means whatever's down the pipeline, they at least have confidence that this year they can go and fight. So if City in sixth place is gearing up for a battle, we better be looking at them saying, look, City is about to make a run. So that means we got to make a run, which means everyone has to kind of be prepared for that. So good win. Let's take the momentum into the Prem.
That's a good assessment. I think with you guys again, I think you guys winning one of these cup competitions really do your guys' confidence really well. Given where you guys are at as a team, with the manager, with it being his first year, he gets that confidence, that credibility. So yeah, and who knows? I mean, Mike says you're not in Tyler race. Cornelia said that they are in Tyler race. So,
You were right though.
but let's get into predictions, man. Predictions, and then we'll do shout outs and crash outs. Predictions. I'll start off first. We got 2 games this week. We play Southampton at home on Thursday at Old Trafford. So I'm expecting. What was our last Premier League game? Premier League game. It was against Liverpool.
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 Yeah.
I'm gonna call it GRG here. I want to call it GRG. We're gonna beat Southampton at home. Definitely gonna get right. And then 2 days later on Thursday we play Brighton. That's gonna be a tough game. I'm gonna say 6 points. Uh, I'm channeling my inner Gabriel. I'm gonna say 2 wins on the week, and yeah, more success for Amarim and the boys.
All right, we play Bournemouth.
Hold on, let Kerry go.
Oh, sorry.
Um, I say we win against Southampton at home. I'm going to clean sheet. I'm going 3-0.
You
Um,
need 5.
I'm
I'll
gonna
go
go three.
differential.
I'm gonna go three. Brighton is that my way?
Um,
Might be away. I think.
yeah, yeah. No, it's at home. It's at home.
Is at home?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go 1-0 win at home to Brighton.
Okay.
Mm.
Squeak that one by.
Yeah.
We have Bournemouth. They come to us on Tuesday. I said earlier in the season, one of my the biggest wins for me that I was impressed with earlier was winning at Bournemouth, and it was crazy back then, but we saw some big teams go there and lose and drop points. So having them back, in our home, I know they're gonna come, trying to you know pick up some points in our crib as well. So we're not gonna let that happen. I'm thinking 2-0, 2-1. I'm more confident with 2-1 because we're shaky in the back. So I'll say 2-1 Chelsea against Bournemouth.
And for us, we're playing Brentford away. I think we're gonna keep this.
Damn, that's crazy. We let him on. He don't even let me get off my Chelsea
Oh, my
prediction.
bad. I'm sorry.
That's wild. Anyway, no, I agree with Mike. I'm just messing. No, I agree with Mike. I think it'll be a tough. I think Bournemouth will try to get a result. But I think it'll be 1-0. We need to keep these clean sheets going. So I think it'll be a very tough match. I think we'll find a goal somewhere, but I think it'll be 1-0.
Picking up. Yeah, like for Brentford, I think we're playing away, and I think we're gonna keep this momentum going. 2-0. Honestly, with Ipswich being our next game, I could see us going. Ooh, I'll see y'all on January 25th, Chelsea, because that's going to be the first real test I think for us, the first real test. And really, if we win our next game, and let's say for whatever reason things don't go well for everyone else, we get up to 36 points. We'll see where that goes. We'll see where that goes.
What? Hold on. Why you doing that? You just took us to the ledge and then just.
I just want to say, if they to Cornelius' point earlier of just like start running, because when I think about what we've done before from this position that we're in, and if the case doesn't go our way and we get into like full lockdown, like world against us, really be ready for that. I think that's like Club City is. So I'm interested to see. That is the last. That is one of our signatures of the past few years. So I'm interested to see that.
Okay. All right. That's everyone's predictions. I wonder what Gabriel's thinking, which leads me into my next shout outs and crash outs. My crash out of the week has to go to Mikel Arteta. Oh man, I know Gabriel. And if you guys have been watching when we first started the podcast, to where we are now, a lot of growth. Because I don't know, it's coming. I know
It's around the corner.
it's definitely around the corner. I honestly think we're here. I think we just I don't know. We just haven't done it.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I think definitely. Um, but yeah, shout out to United, shout out to Yamal, shout out to um shit, bro. Yeah,
Shout out to Reece James, man. That's my shout out.
yeah,
It's good to see my captain back.
yeah, man.
Shout out Hansi Flick for figuring out how to get this Barcelona team
Putting
to
the
even
belt
work
on
with his
ass.
finances right now. This is crazy.
Shout out to Joshua Xerxes.
Get it sexy. Big
Um,
sexy.
yeah, I got a few shout outs. Shout out Hansi Flick. I just read a stat that said he's 6 for 6 in finals all time. That's with all of his clubs. So that's massive. Shout out to him for that. Um,
Great betting stat.
yeah, no, crazy, right?
Those are Jose numbers, man.
Shout
Shout
out,
out.
shout out to the Cleveland Crunch, the Cleveland professional indoor team here
Whew.
in Cleveland, Ohio. They just had their home
27-0.
opener. Ozzy Gabriel obviously isn't on the pod today, but they had their home opener last night where they had a sold out crowd and they had their banner raising ceremony where they raised the banner for their second chip. They won the trophy last year. They also had their ring ceremony. So hopefully next week Gabriel can hop on and show the ring that they all got. But it was cool. They won 24-4. Sent the other team packing. There was a running clock in the fourth quarter because we were just tired of seeing goals at that point. But Cleveland Crunch, it looked like they're on their way to another championship this season. So just want to say shout out to the home team, 2-0. I think they have like a plus 30 goal differential to start the season. So they're balling right now. Definitely the team to beat in the league. And then like I said earlier, shout out Reece James, man. It's good to see my captain back. Love that guy. Just want to see him healthy and on the pitch as much as possible, for real.
Those are good. Those are good. Shout out to the Crunch. Shout out to Gabriel.
Oh, and I think wasn't Nuno manager of the month last month?
Crazy, bro.
I don't know if we shouted him out, but shout out Nuno.
Damn, how just his what like his 24 months. Like you were managing out in Saudi, with getting
From
into
Wolves,
yeah, and now it's like
Wolves,
from
Tottenham, Saudi.
yeah,
Now he's balling.
Tottenham. He's at Tottenham. You
Hmm
go to Saudi. That's right. Yeah, Tottenham, Saudi. And now you have one of the best teams in the league. It's like
And low key, and low key, not for nothing. They kind of gave him that Nottingham Forest job as like a demotion because I feel like when he got the job initially, they were fighting relegation, and that's when they went and bought all those players, and then they somehow survived. And now look at them.
That's why I think like, they got a good thing going. Especially those players. Those players were counted out. The manager was counted out. They kind of built what they had together. So like, you definitely, and they actually have European history.
More than some others.
Football
than ours, no.
heritage.
Yeah, but it's not about comparing. Don't look left and right. Always look forward.
We looking at y'all. We got our two. We looking at three.
You had three, but you slip. Captain slip. The race.
I'm just letting you know. We looking forward. I'm just letting you know we looking forward. All right.
Yeah. No,
We'll be back. We'll be back.
Yeah, we will too. We'll win a Champions League before you guys do. 100%.
Come on.
No, let's not make statements like that.
Come on.
No, we will.
We just sat next. You might want to cut this part out.
In the Champions League final 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You know how we do this.
Yeah. Look at Kerry. He knows better. He on mute. He said cut. He said cut.
No. January 12th.
United.
January 12th, 2025, we will win a Champions League before Chelsea. Don't let these fucking little celebrations fucking tell you. What? You're fucking cold? Go put on a hoodie. Yeah. But Yeah, man.
Before we get out, just gotta say one last shout out, man. Shout out my mom. It's her birthday today. So
Oh yeah.
Happy birthday.
your mom.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday, Mrs. Piwu. Happy birthday.
Good people. Good people.
Mm.
Good people. Happy birthday for sure. That's a good way to close it out. Good show, guys. Thanks for hopping on, Gary, Solo, wherever you are.
Thanks.
Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and as always, good luck to you in your future.